Alright, folks, you asked the questions. Now it's time to receive the bacon! Bacon equals answer. The 2014 Ask Question Receive Bacon Fest will be done without playing a video game, part because last year, along with multiple questions per person, took a very long time to complete, and I simply don't want to spend that much time on this process. Even with the Ask Question Receive Bacon, the fourth annual one, buried in a November update video, I still spent 7 hours collecting and organizing and sorting and making sure that I got the questions and that I have an idea of how I'm going to answer every question, except for one. The picture here, Grimith, it's his birthday, don't you know, is factually correct. It's currently 9:05 in the morning on Saturday, November 22nd. This image was made, I think, back in 2011 by good old Catfish, who once upon a time did this hobby, and I had the fortune of speaking with him earlier this morning, and that's how our conversation went. Just thought I'd share that with you. I like to have fun on occasion. There you go. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. While I will not be playing a game, we've got some fancy, prep work here, and that's why it took me so long. Rather than making timestamps, and rather than you folks having to go through the comments to find the questions, or maybe pay attention to me, I've done some prep work, and you all can look at the questions as we go along. First question here is brought to you by Bacon Lord, who asks, is there such thing as too much bacon? Yes, when deer start licking you. Next question is by Leet Yasman, longtime viewer, who writes, Grimith, now that the new King of Dragon Pass with new events etc. is on Android, which you've got an emulator of, is there any chance we'll get a new Let's Get On With It of it? I don't think so. I enjoyed recording King of Dragon Pass, but there's little left for me to showcase, even with an Android version with new events and etc. These days, the game is readily available. Many of my viewers understand the mechanics better than I do. I did what I wanted with the videos I made, and I've moved on. I think I will return to playing King of Dragon Pass at some point. It just won't be recorded. That being said, for those of you who love King of Dragon Pass, you may be interested in A Sharp's development of 6 Ages. Take a look at the relevant blog. 6ages.blogspot.ca, making a storytelling game as unique as King of Dragon Pass. Alright. Next question is by another longtime viewer who has made fan videos of some inane things I've said over the years, like the truth smelling like potatoes. Look, Daggerfall does weird things to a person's mind. And I am a longtime veteran of Daggerfall, alright? I think I might have even said that in a King of Dragon Pass video. At any rate, why do turn-based strategy games appeal to you so much? Well, I enjoy the exercise of devising a plan and successfully executing it. I can see that. Strong turn-based strategy games create an impact network. That is, how the choice to solve one issue ripples down to second and third-order consequences. The genre teaches me about myself, and it hones skills I would otherwise not practice. After all, I'm not in the military, and I don't work in any competitive field which utilizes my critical thinking skills to ruin someone else. Strategy games allow for competition and resolution without tragedy. So long as you're not playing a game of diplomacy. Which, if you've ever played diplomacy, you either love it or you hate it. Suppose you could be apathetic about it, but diplomacy doesn't inspire apathy. It's really a one or the other type thing. Next question comes from, speaking of the Daggerfall videos, another longtime viewer of mine. What is your favorite character advancement system among either computer or tabletop RPGs, and why? As of now, my answer is 13th Age. I'm currently playing in a 13th Age campaign, and the advancement system was what I expected, delightful. I think throwing experience points out the window is a great idea, and incremental advances can serve as a reward for players who did exceptionally well, sort of how you might reward a player bonus experience points for doing a great job role-playing or having an incredibly imaginative idea. The 13th Age spends little time fussing over the mechanics of leveling, and the system is better for it. I think characters, at least in my limited experience with 13th Age, are fairly well balanced, and rather than burdening all the participants with rules, which, you know, of course, the DM is free to discard as he sees fit, the game just focuses on roleplay and lets you work it out. Of course, some people want a more detailed game. They're not willing to freestyle everything. Maybe not that great at improv. Maybe just like to have more concrete systems. Maybe they like tactical maps, like to utilize those things better. Your mileage may vary, and of course you can pick and choose elements. But as of now, the answer to the question is definitely 13th Age. Alright, next question comes from Doucare, who writes, any tips for someone who wants to start Let's Playing? Get good with using a search engine. Play a game you're comfortable with and want to share with others. Except that live commentary diminishes intellectual and observational capacity. Alright, moving along from I Am Ryan LPs. Wait, what? Are we meant to ask the questions here? No one else is, but you said to, Grimith. Hell, you keep in mind that I'm doing these in chronological order as the comments were received and displayed on. That's all that needs to be said about that. Next query comes from 9K Robot, who writes, if you and Lethal had a child, what would you name it? Fucked. For moments like, get fucked out here right now. Yes. So, moving on to Shaman490, another longtime viewer. So, accepting the foolish assumption that the immortal Lich Oracle was surprised by anything, I feel it's pretty easy to feel that Popman has easily outstripped the Chucklefuck's expectations for his usefulness. This is an all flesh must be eaten reference. Barring spumblers toward future episodes, well, you are an Oracle, is there any expectation that our misbegotten cash-earning non-feline mascot will continue to shock us with his amazing ability to do constructive things for the team? Yes. Next question comes from ecar100, who writes, at your current pace, when do you expect the next Rewarding the Rewarders opportunity to be open for donations? I have no expectations in the matter. I will finish the current cycle in 21X. Afterwards, if I'm actually still alive by then, who can say what will happen next? Okay. Question 10 comes from James Tate. Apologies, got a little carried away there. When you were going through the Fallout games, you said that you have a few words on War Never Changes, but those LPs weren't the time or place for that. Is this Bacon event the time and maybe also the place? You know, James Tate, I read your question, and then I looked at who wrote it, and I asked myself, didn't he ask me this last year? And hey, what do you know? You did ask me this last year. For the Ask Question Receive Bacon 2013 event. Huh. Well, I hope you like your old bacon, because I'm about to channel past Grimith with this answer. In his own words, I think War Never Changes is a foolish statement, one of those blithe banalities uttered by people who want to come across as insightful and well-learned. And honestly, it's not like I expect a video game to be groundbreaking on political martial theory. The narration insinuates that war never changes because people never change, although the reasons for war do. Well, that's not true. People are mutable. The very existence of scores of attempts by individuals smarter and better educated than myself, or any of you listening, speaks to how we, as humans, have attempted to quantify war, because defining war must be the first step in any philosophical discussion of it. Heraclitus, a Greek philosopher, wrote that war is the father of all things. Many other philosophers, including Voltaire, have echoed that thought process. Personally, I don't think war is some underlying truth, some all-pervasive phenomenon of the universe. I also wouldn't paint the definition of war into a corner, as many other theorists have done. The best suggested definition of war I've ever read has it listed as a state of organized, open-ended collective conflict or hostility. As an intelligent person who has considered and discarded numerous war theories, a video game attempting to philosophically sass me through poignant nonsense is, well, malarkey. And I hope we can all agree on that. Well said, past Grimith. Perhaps the bacon will not go ignored this time. Next up, Louis von Feline, who writes, if you could sit down and talk to one prominent historical figure, i.e. Charlemagne, Galileo, Newton, etc., who would it be and why? Well, Socrates. I'd love to show him around San Dimas. San Dimas High School football rules! Good times. Next up, the Kloll7. What is your favorite female character, not limited to games, in your past, present, and if you're capable of reading the future, well, the future. I don't have a favorite character of either genre in any novel, play, movie, or video game. Sure, there are characters I like and dislike, but there's no one individual, or even a small group who qualify. I'd just be rattling off a non-exclusive list of female characters I like, and that list is too vast. I gotta serve bacon to other people here. There is no time for list rattling. Next up, Kobrag. Kobrag. A new demonchildspawn creation in the lineage of Alpha Centaur. Buying it Saturday. However, what is your opinion? Happy forwarded bacon day. I presume Kobrag is asking about Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth and what my opinion on it is. If not, well, misunderstood Bacon Kobrag. I don't have an educated opinion of Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth. I've not played it, but what I've seen isn't interesting enough for me to buy it. The game looks remarkably similar to Civilization 5, like it's actually a Civ 5 super mod, which, if you like Civ 5, isn't so bad. You've got the affinity system, a spiffy tech tree, and a reskin Civ 5 for $50 US. I've asked for a few opinions from people I trust, and I've been told that Beyond Earth is insipid. Where's the personality of Alpha Centauri, Firaxis Games' flagship title? The extensive research which went into creating Planet, detailed in the instruction manual. How about the hours spent painstakingly crafting the lore, the factions, the personalities of each leader? When you crash-landed on Planet, you understood why you had to start from scratch. With limited intel and few resources. Can one truthfully say the same for Beyond Earth? Why you have to explore the planet all over again even though you have, satellites? Once you get the bug fixing and DLC machine on the go, you might have a game worth my time. Except I'd have to buy more baubles just to create an enjoyable experience. Nah, I'm good. Okay. Moving along here, question 14 comes from that Kevber guy, who asks, if you could have one game, or maybe even a series made with any story, any gameplay, and so on and so forth, what would it be? Your dream game, so to say. I left these fantasies behind when I was a teenager. I had an internet friend who lived in China. He and I would spend many hours on my night and his night, bantering back and forth about games and our experiences and ideal design and so forth. Looking back, he seemingly devised new ideas every week, and they became tiresome to hear. You could tell how I felt. Point being, I have little interest being effusive about what my dream game would be, since I have little intention of making it and little hope of seeing it. Instead, I look at what I want, look for games matching that criteria, and try to make the pieces fit. I won't regale you with the details. I don't think it's worth my time. Suffice to say, there are many games I haven't tried, and there are many games I have tried that have disappointed. Okay. Question 15 comes from Jack D23. Question, do you have anything, goals perhaps, or just in general things that you want to do before you die? Maybe even an untimely death, should it ever so unexpectedly occur. And what are those things or goals, if you feel like telling? Well, brief aside before I get to your question. JackD23 records videos on his channel. If you're interested in either the German or English language, you might want to take a look. He's recorded content in both. I think he does modded Minecraft. A variety, opportunity, German! Anyway, I threw long-term goals out the window after college. I no longer saw the point. I am mentally deficient, a societal cripple, incapable of functioning beyond certain parameters, a husk who contemplated and attempted suicide. I organized all of my affairs for the task, made every preparation I could, yet stopped myself before going through with it. Why? I couldn't accept what my suicide would do to my family. Life is fragile. So are emotions. I couldn't hurt my parents. Not like that. Thus, today's Grimith is a simulacrum, a shell of his former vibrancy. My current goals are family-centric. I assist my parents and improve their quality of life. I attempt to retain, if not reclaim, functionality, so that I may be of better use. Why do I do this hobby? It's not just for the fun, not just because I enjoy entertaining others, not just because it suits my personality, but because it distracts me. It helps me hide from the withering self-derision, the sneering hate brought by a domineering intellect that is furious with its flaws. Question 16 is from I Can Remember This, who asks, what are your near-future career income plans? Explains thoughts behind the question. There are no plans. I am economically stable within my cardboard box, and I want for no material possession. As I have indicated in other personal queries over the years, I moved back in with my parents out of concern for their well-being. My father has been on death's door for almost as long as I've been recording videos. He collapsed and was hospitalized back in May, where he stayed for a few months. Quite a number of months. That was before his liver transplant. And before the seizure, which caused the brain damage that permanently impaired his memory. His willpower, expensive medical treatments, and pure happenstance are what have kept him from dying thus far. He is a very mentally stubborn man, and I know he stayed alive for Mom, because he loves and cares for her so much, and did not want to leave her. Could he live another 50 years? Sure. Longer than me? Probably. But I stay because my parents matter to me, and I give no fucks about my culture shaming me for it. And, well, I don't know what awaits tomorrow. It could be that I'm staying and worrying for nothing, but I wouldn't regret that. A brief aside here, if you accept a decision as you make it, then you're accepting the consequences for the decision. It's like an impact network. You have to recognize the myriad of second and third order consequences that stem from any decision you make. Of course, I don't do that all the time, and it's impossible to do so simply because you can't predict everything with total accuracy in life. I am no oracle, and I would take later the second's approach there anyway. What fun would there be with completely accurate prediction of everything? Let's see here. Let's get to something a bit more lighthearted. From Neeme5151. Dear Grimith, in your opinion, what is the greatest thing since sliced bread? Sliced pepperoni, man. It is the Shazam. Larian the Mage asks, how has this year treated you so far? Hi, Larian. Well, Year's almost over. I'm still alive. So are my parents. Sounds like a grade A American victory to me. Next up, we have VampireShogun, who writes, if you were to start a crowdfunded project, a la Kickstarter or Indiegogo, other than rewarding the rewarders, what would it be and why? As in a video game, a tabletop system, or a school of necromancy, I would start a crowdfunded project. Sorry, the baby back ribs I had last night are coming back to haunt me now. I would start a crowdfunded project to raise money for bringing lawsuits against all of the people who have failed to deliver on their crowdfunded promises. I like it. Don't you? Yeah. Alright. Moving along here with Mortified ThePenguin. Hi there. What would be the technological advancement that took place over your life that you hold in the highest esteem? Well, 3D printers. I do not fathom their intricacies, therefore I respect them. Got a query here from Metroid09. Did you ever find out how the 4th edition Shadowrun tabletop game ended? The way I hear it, the game stopped after Truthsayer died. From Jemoni. Hi, Jemoni. Since I've got nothing better to ask, did Dick Cheney get any cookies during your vacation? Dick Cheney is a strong, independent white man who don't need no woman because he's got privilege. I'm sure he managed. Alright, now we've got Neveza. Is getting fucked truly a bad thing? Your mileage may vary. We've got Ezio Leet98. If you were to recommend one game you know of to someone you know, who would it be, what game, and why? Someone who hadn't played Daggerfall, and so that this individual would know my pain. And the glory. It would have to be the unpatched version of Daggerfall. I have the original CD. It's to be expected, right? Not playing Daggerfall 2.13 with all the unofficial fan patches on top of that. Come on, man. Alright. 25 comes from Meandor V. What is your take on the whole Gamergate, not your shield, social justice warrior feminist drama that is going on for a while? I had Lethal explain Gamergate to me once because I had heard it in passing, and I know I could go to him with queries on internet drama. And I read one lengthy article on the affair pertaining to Gamergate and wanted to be more informed, so I became more informed. Still, I don't consider myself to have an educated opinion on the subject, nor do I intend to acquire one. Hell, I don't even know what not your shield means. I didn't even bother to Google it. You want political insight? You go to someone who's interested in politics. You want automobile insight? You go to someone who's interested in automobiles. You want internet drama insight? You go to someone who's interested in internet drama. Like Lethal. Not me. Alright, question 26. I don't know if this has ever been asked before, but whatever happened to your catchphrases from ages past? Raffle skates and ninja babies, etc. People change, so does language. Words and phrases come and go from my vernacular. I'm sure viewers will find new things to enjoy, and who knows, perhaps I'll sell a greatest hits collection of all those catchy witticisms everyone knows and loves. Unfortuitous, man. Raffle skates, ninja babies, rafflecopter, Are you fucking kidding me? I gotta think about the money, man. I'm corporate Grimith now. Alright, moving along here. How would you describe the difference between intelligence, wisdom, and knowledge? I'd tell you that they're related words. If you don't know how to use a dictionary or a search engine, then get fucked. Problem solved. GalaxyGuy12, hey there, Galaxy Guy. Don't usually ask questions when these videos occur, because I don't usually care enough to hear the answer, but heck, might as well, right? What kind of music are you into? I have eclectic tastes. I gravitate towards rock, though. That's an influence of my mom. Her favorite band is Metallica. Really loves James Hetfield. That actually came up in conversation last night. Tangent, complete tangent here. This was while we were at the steakhouse. I was allowed to pick. The fact that we went out to eat yesterday was not something I had expected. But as it turns out, my brother and his wife are going to a massive football-type party today to watch the, among other things, the incredible South Carolina Gamecocks continue to succeed at life and get really drunk, I'm sure, with their friends. And so we didn't end up doing it today. I'd actually cleared my schedule and wasn't going to live broadcast or anything. And since I stayed up all morning handling this shit, I'm probably not going to go with the walking until later on in the day. I'm going to go to sleep. I don't know, we'll see. It doesn't matter. Anyway, get back to my tangent instead of going on a tangent and a tangent. A Taylor Swift song came on in the steakhouse, or roadhouse. It's a place where you throw peanuts on the floor while you're eating them. And Mom commented that she didn't think Taylor Swift was a good singer. Of course, it's not really objective here. My sister-in-law countered with, well, she did win, like a competition thing. Yeah. Well, she didn't think Taylor Swift was a good singer. She thought she was bad at me. And she compared, just like, her voice isn't good now. If you compare, like, Metallica, James Hetfield's voice hasn't changed at all. I mean, I just heard them live, whenever they were performing, and it's like, whoa, stop. You stop right there, damn it. James Hetfield's voice hasn't changed at all? He sounds the same as he did when you first started listening to him? No. His repertoire consists of, ooh, yeah. That's my mom's considerable Metallica bias kicking in. At any rate, I gravitate towards rock. Metal, shit. Metallica comes to mind. But yeah, I have eclectic tastes. I dip into a variety of things. Alright. We had fun there with all those tangents. Drew8798 asks, what's your favorite sci-fi novel or series of novels? That would be Frank Herbert's Dune universe. Without a doubt. Big fan of the Dune universe. I even like some of Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson's work. Brian Herbert is Frank Herbert's son. He, along with Kevin J. Anderson, picked up the pieces quite a number of years after Frank Herbert died. They found, some old notes in a safe deposit box that Frank Herbert had made about where he meant Dune 7, which was the final book of the series to go. And before they wrote that, they decided to expand upon the Dune universe background, go back far back in history to the Butlerian Jihad, and they filled in bits and pieces. I wouldn't call them canonical, the books that are written, if only because the details that are mentioned and the nuances have changed. It's particularly the books which transpire before the original Dune. You've got a House Atreides, House Harkonnen, then a House Carino. I don't consider those books to be, leading authorities in the matter. Paul of Dune, they're interesting. I guess you can consider them semi-canonical, except for in situations where they clearly contradict with one of Frank Herbert's books. I think that's the best way to go about looking at it. But, yeah, Expanded Dune Universe, those first 6 books, I have been going through the process of rereading them once earlier this year, and then I've started doing that whenever I went on vacation to Savannah and wanted some material to read, during the card trip and stuff, when we weren't listening to amazing, sweet tunes, all about that bass. Highly recommend the Dune Universe. Alright. Question 30 from RoraborialisTrawler. Definitely recognize that name. If there is any one game that you would dread playing the most, what would it be? Common sense prevents me from answering this question. I would not arm my viewers with such ammunition. That is absurd. I am no fool. Okay. Question 31 comes from Typhoon946, who writes, what is your opinion on / do you watch esports such as Dota 2, StarCraft 2, LoL, etc.? I have no interest in those games, and little interest in esports. I don't partake of them, but I have no problem with others doing so. Sure, whatever. Sports to me, not a big deal. Alright, question 32 comes from MidiCow, whose Google Plus name consists of 2 hyphens. I heard Jonas mention it in passing during a Throne of Night game in Cap, but have you ever looked into the Eclipse Phase game? To my knowledge, I've never heard of it until now. I'll trust that Jonas mentioned it, though. And it left no impression on me, since I don't remember it. Okay. Question 33. What's so odd about odd numbers? They're not even. Yeah. Question 34. You once mentioned gangsters' organized crime as a possible let's get on with it candidate. Is it still a candidate? It is. I've considered recording it a few times this year, but I didn't feel like tackling what would be a time-intensive process. Hell, I'm trying to record old games, particularly gangsters' organized crime. I actually requested, and this was early last year, I think, fellow hobbyist who has retired from the hobby, Malcasvia, to play gangsters, and he was alright, sure, yeah, it sounds cool, I'll do it. And he did it, he got some hype up, and then everything just went fucking tits up, and he canceled before he even uploaded a video. Might have been due to his hard drive issues, but I think he just had too much trouble trying to get the game to record. Now, I have seen the game recorded before, though I really didn't watch Paradoxian LP's videos on that. Well, I haven't said that name in a while. But I know it's possible. I'm just thinking about the amount of exertion that would be required. I haven't felt strongly about playing the game enough to actually have put forth that possible effort. But yeah, it's still a candidate. Okay. Next up, Richard 5x5, who writes, if I may ask a question, why did you go to Georgia rather than, say, Constantinople? Since it's the... Congratulations on confusing me with your query, even if that wasn't your intent. I'm going to attempt not to fuck up your bacon. Savannah is a historic city, a tourist city, and a college city. It's not too far from where I live, and we were able to rent a condo on the cheap, relatively speaking, that overlooks the Savannah River. Friend connections. Good food, good environment, good times. If you're interested in alcohol, then you might want to go. You're allowed to have open, transparent alcohol containers in public anywhere in the historic district. It's pretty nice. As a former college student, it's rather interesting to walk past a uniformed police officer on the street while having an alcohol container open, drinking from it in the process. It's weird. But yeah, you can take it all the way up and down River Street. You could even take it into all the tourist traps and shit. Obviously, like, various restaurants and bars are not okay with you bringing in, like, competing beverages, but just something to keep in mind if you're, say, trying to do events and participate in them as well. Alright, so we're getting here to number 36. Frosty Freeze writes, do you want to or plan to have kids so they can be your eternal slaves? If I have kids, it won't be so that they can be my eternal slaves. Number 37, Mr. 4Y, what is your opinion on people that want to support content creators but can't do so because of how much intrusive and annoying advertisements are, which forces them to use ad blockers and similar tools? My opinion is the fuck. There are people who can't support content creators because of intrusive and annoying advertisements. What are they on? School and work computers where they're not allowed to install advert blocking programs? Or are they unfamiliar with the availability and quality programs designed to help the casual user bypass ads? The Google integration of AdBlock would be an example, and the ad blocking program that I use since college, which recently became free, AdMuncher, also incredible quality. What's the problem here, though? This is either a math question that can't be solved due to insufficient data, or I've misinterpreted your query, in which case the fault is clearly not on my end, because I couldn't possibly be wrong. I don't understand. I'm sure 9 people will explain it to me in the comments of this video what you meant. It's no longer my concern. I am blameless. Alright, Justin Butler here asks, what are some of the cheesiest jokes you know? Puns and knock-knock jokes being totally acceptable. My cheesy jokes are pickup lines. I think I delivered at least one in the update video where I mentioned that bacon was up for grabs. I could deliver more, but really a search engine query would be better and oh so worth your time. Horrible pickup lines, go. It's amazing. You can tell them as jokes and you can have a sardonic bent to your voice. I mean, who knows? You can pick up ladies just by you knowing that the line is bad and she knows that the line is bad. You're just having fun, right? Come on. Next up, my name is 214365, who writes, do you maintain a character art library for your pen and paper games over the internet? No, I don't. I don't maintain an online art library, but the internet does. If you want portraits, then you image search using Google, DeviantArt, Elfwood, Sourcebooks, and so forth. It's that easy. Come on. Alright. Question 40 comes from Book of Gardens, who writes, in your opinion, what book, article, fanfic, or general reading would you suggest to read or take a look at before we die? Since it was mentioned earlier, I'll recommend Frank Herbert's Dune universe. Start with the first book, Dune. Question 41 comes from Abel Knight. Okay, here's my question. Can my bacon be turkey bacon? Because I don't eat pork. Not even the metaphorical kind. You don't eat metaphorical pork? How do you even function? Question 42 comes from Aguilampaper. Hello. Bacon question. Hey, Grim, for the Let's Get On With It Heroes of Might and Magic 3. This was the person who requested I played that. Would you consider doing it multiplayer? And if so, do you think it would help overcome the issues you mentioned you were having in getting back into... Hi. I'm not interested in playing Heroes of Might and Magic 3 multiplayer. Beyond the logistics that would be required, I think you could game ranger it. I'm not sure. I don't see the single-player, multiplayer switch suddenly making me better at the game. Multiplayer would just curb stomp me. Not conducive to me enjoying myself. I think I said my hesitation came from lack of skill. I didn't play Heroes of Might and Magic 3 that much. After 2, I really enjoyed 2. I played a lot of 2. But Heroes of Might and Magic 3, I played that, and sure, there's a lot of features, and there's all sorts of new functionality, and there's new heroes, there's new town types. The problem with that is with all of those new options, the AI is even more overwhelmed than what it was in Heroes of Might and Magic 2. So it's easier to run circles around. Like, at the very least, if the AI could just prioritize what spells to cast, so they're not casting, say, protection from fucking air, when they have all sorts of other powerful spells to help them handle a situation. That is a serious problem that I have with Heroes of Might and Magic 3. And of course it existed in Heroes of Might and Magic 2. But at least in 2 they would just spam blind, right? And Chain Lightning. Oh man, Chain Lightning, good times. At any rate, yeah. I'll get around to your request sometime during 21X. I'm sure of it. Don't you worry. We've got this under lockdown. The game is installed on my computer. It's just... I gotta get around to play it. There's so many other games that I'd be looking at. I gotta finish Half Minute Hero. There's like another half hour I gotta do with that for Legendary Marvin, who also does this hobby. If you're interested, helps people along in non-English. It's a nice attractive thing there. Yeah, not that much though, and obviously we gotta do another run of EG. We started Arcanum, Steamworks and Magic Obscura. Started the Hitman, Codename 47. I mean, my schedule is so booked. All flesh must be eaten. I do Payday 2. Where would I find the time? Don't worry, it'll get done in 21X. Don't you worry. Next up, Stump Zip. 4 days ago, apparently. I didn't take that out. As an individual... Well, I suppose we'd read the entire thing. I wanted to ask a semi-big people question, a medium-sized person, if you will. I went through the last couple of bacons and all of its tasty glory, might have skipped over a few delicious strips, stayed for the birds, and then hear my question asked. I really like the field of history, which is a major reason why you're one awesome opossum in my book, and wish to continue the study during college. As an individual who studied history in college and entered the big people world, on a scale of 1 to get fucked, should I reconsider my life choices? Get fucked. That's what college and life experiences can do to you. Be prepared to reconsider your life choices, and then reconsider them, ad nauseum. In this particular case, while you may be interested in history, you may find yourself not wanting to make it your profession while you're taking 3 history courses and 2 education courses in one semester. That was one of my semesters. That was my junior year. Epiphanies happen. It's part of learning what you want and what you don't. Alright. Hey Grimith, in past videos you mentioned you worked at a local museum, and that sounds pretty cool. Do you have any favorite stories from your work or past job stories? Museum work is super boring. Any good work story I have would be an inside one. I need a while to set it up, and even if I did, you wouldn't get the nuances because you weren't there. Besides, the most fun I had at work was when I worked for my university as a resident advisor. College freshmen have a habit of making poor decisions, and as their mentor/overseer, I ended up getting involved in their poor decisions more than I have liked. There was a time some kids pulled a fast one on me, though, and I think I've told this story before in my videos. I was on patrol one night. If you're unfamiliar with how the American college works when you actually have a dorm, there are resident advisors/mentors who are upperclassmen, or at least, they are in non-freshman dorms as well, but, there's a lot of emphasis on freshman dorms to help out freshmen. And resident advisors, they're basically just to act as a connection between the university and students. The resident advisors are students themselves, and they help to integrate the process, smooth over transition, there for help if you need them. When you're an upperclassman yourself, the resident mentor really doesn't matter that much. It really is primarily a freshman thing. So, I was on patrol one night. I did rounds at 9 and 12, and on the weekends you do it at 2 a.m. too. In addition to loud voices coming from one of the dorm rooms, I heard the telltale sounds of ping pong balls. Being beer pong, all the rage was college students, and as every non-RA living in the dorm was underage, beer pong means underage drinking, means I need to lay down some justice. I did not handle discipline. Instead, I wrote basically like disciplinary referrals, which I would send to my boss, who was a graduate student, and in turn would get sent to like the university housing, and they would handle the situation. But basically, I was a patrol officer, walking my beat there on the scene, held a lot of power. I could crush these freshmen. And, we had our rules and regulations of how we could handle things, but sounds were definitely key. They were being loud anyway, and, the beer pong, they're all underage. At least anyone who was supposed to be living there. They could have had guests over, but anyone living there would have been underage. I had access to all the birth dates, social security numbers if I needed them. I knew, trust me. So, needed to lay down some justice. Knock on the door. RA on duty. Something like that. I announced myself that I'd like to come in for a few minutes. By the way, if you would not let the RA on duty in, I would call university security. We would handle the situation. You do not defy the resident advisor on duty. Or really any RA for that matter. Come on, man. Serious business. And I wanted to come in for a few minutes. I couldn't go snooping through all their belongings. I had to look out in the open, but I have a nose. I have eyes. I can witness situations. I'd like to come in for a few minutes. Now, there's all sorts of panic that can happen at those moments, like, oh, shit. All sorts of wonderful events that could transpire. I had the occasion to administer some justice. I thought that's what I'd be doing here. Well, freshmen opened the door. With almost no hesitation on their part. I peek my head inside. I walk in. What do I see? Yeah, they're playing pong. They're playing coffee pong. That's right. The residents were practicing their fraternity beer pong skills with coffee. If you've never played beer pong before, Google search it. Suffice to say that they had replaced all instances of beer with coffee. Since I saw no alcohol containers and the residents were cooperative and clearly sober, I told them to just keep the noise down and left them to their fun. I couldn't do anything else. I thought it was great. Clever bastards. Anyway, that's my paraphrased cool story, bro. Alright, question 45. I see a lot of fancy questions here, but I just wanted to ask you if the Payday 2 DLCs are worth the money. They don't seem to change the game too much. I own most of the DLCs, although they were given to me as gifts. I don't have the historical pack, which came out, and I rejected Hotline Miami DLC gifts several times because I thought the $6.99 price was so absurd that I couldn't let anyone get it for me on principle. Anyway, if you play with a friend, or at least a host who owns the heist-giving DLCs, you can still enjoy those. Those are useful. I do think the heists add flavor and effect to the game. Beyond that, if you don't care about extra weapons, masks, or patterns, then you're good to go. You'd lose out on the sniper rifles. That would be the biggest feature you'd miss out for not having the sniper pack, but you can work your way around that. Still, supporting the developer of a game as you continue to play it, and you're having fun, isn't a bad idea. Overkill does release quite a bit of free content as well. What I would suggest is selling some trading cards that you'd have on Steam, if you haven't already done so, and you can accrue fake money in your Steam wallet, and use that to pick up whatever DLC you're missing, when it's all like 50% off. Now, according to my all comments newest first view, those are all the questions I received. I'm serious. It's fucking Google. Yet I know that to be factually incorrect, for I earlier saw queries as they were filtering in left my names I recognize. I'll now go through these comments again, sorted by top comments, and we'll start at the bottom and work our way back up the top. If I end up missing yours in the confusion or onslaught, understand that I am blameless, and all hatred should be directed at the Google overlords. Suppose I can also make this a two-part thing. I did lower the bitrate of this video, which means it shouldn't be that much of a pain in the ass. I can upload it tonight. While I'm asleep. I don't want to use the bandwidth while I'm asleep. During the daytime, that'd just be rude. We'll keep it all in one video, whatever. I lowered the bitrate. It's not at 15,000, we'll be fine. Maybe it'll be like 3-4 gigs. It is 1920 by 1080. Why don't you just fucking stop going on a tangent so you can actually get this video done so it'll be smaller? Question 46 comes from Toondude. Are you planning on streaming / recording any more Left 4 Dead 2 or maybe even UT3? No plans, but it could happen. I do have truckloads of Unreal Tournament footage from Lethal's recent Unreal Saturday, but I haven't felt like using the bandwidth to upload it. How much do I actually have on this computer? There's the UT2K4 stuff. That's 24 gigabytes and 16 files. And that's definitely a number of hours. Yes. Yeah. And then the UT3 stuff, that's another 7 gigabytes. That's a number of hours too. Yeah. But I haven't felt like using the bandwidth to upload it. You can just watch Lethal's perspective. That's another reason why I have it as well. Lethal recorded and uploaded it too. So you can watch his perspective of his Unreal Saturday. And it's complete with folks being active, including J2 and SKS. I didn't participate the entire Unreal Saturday either. So yeah, that's a thing. Next up is from Slaxor. Hey there, Slax. Who writes, Vacation. Did you get laid? I hope you got laid. Nah. The condo where we stayed was rather cozy for our group of 5. First day we got there was only us 3. My parents didn't arrive until Tuesday. We got there on Monday. And then they left on Thursday, and then 2 of my brother's friends came in on Wednesday. So it was a group of 5 from Tuesday on until Saturday, where it became a group of 7. I slept on a flippin' fuck, which was actually really fucking cozy. I didn't actually unfold the flippin' fuck. I just removed the cushions from the couch. The coziest flippin' fuck I've ever slept on. So cozy, I didn't even unfold it. It was great. But yeah, it was really fucking cozy. Really crammed. Didn't have the best sleeping locale. I'd have needed to go somewhere else. And the view just wouldn't have been as spectacular. I also wasn't actively pursuing it. The most action and excitement I had on that front was the burlesque fetish cabaret, which I was amused more by how my brother took it in, as he had never been to a burlesque show, particularly not one of that caliber. So, saw ladies in varying degrees of undress. particularly a distinct lack of any clothes. That transpired, but no, no late. Alright, moving along here is, you probably mentioned it in the past, but you're not subscribed to Jeff? I mean, you don't have to, of course. Just, I wasn't expecting that. I like seeing my viewers answer their own questions. There's hope yet for all of you. Would you slap some bacon on my mans? You got it. Question 50 from Odd Nick W. What is your favorite historical time period? Favorite? What is this year's favorite? Mercurial Grimith. These days, I don't do much history. I'm not as interested in it as I was, say, 8 years ago, or even last year, since this is a regular question for me. Well, this time we'll say the Gilded Age. War times are interesting times, but I find United States history mid to late 1800s to be incredibly fascinating. Beyond the Civil War, which does have war times, and was an incredibly involved and detailed war because it was fought entirely on American soil. Obviously, there's some naval affairs as well, but yeah, how about that? Hasn't been a whole lot of war in America's relatively young history, which has transpired on American soil. You've, of course, got the American Revolution and the War of 1812. Our capital got burned. We don't talk about that. There's the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. And we don't really count war with all those various Indians that the white man murdered. It's not important. Yeah. Gilded Age, though, that is very, very intriguing. And we'll say, as right now, that's my favorite historical time period. Question 51 comes from Sting at a bunch of numbers. Do you ever think that in the future you will make providing invaluable entertainment to everybody on the tubes a full-time job? I didn't know this was invaluable entertainment. I have no expectations. It's just a hobby. And then again, I am Kobrag90 now. Next year, I will travel to BlizzCon and get paid personally by the man. Question 52 comes from Mr. Shark Bear, who asks, are you interested in Beyond Earth at all? I think I answered that with Kobrag's query, which is suffice to say, meh. Affable Giraffable, hey there. Anyway, my question is, do you have a favorite time period in history you like to learn about? The best answer I've got for you right now is the one I gave Odd Nick W. I haven't been much into history this year. Got historyed out. All those history classes I took there, really compacted that situation. When you're preparing to make that the profession, and if I was interested in history for so long, so many years, since 5th grade, so 12 until about, my sophomore year is when it started dipping, as I, basically super intense history mode. I couldn't turn it off. Living and breathing history of a variety of cultures, which, all sorts of interesting, got to learn cool things about French colonialism in North Africa, learned Middle Eastern history from, basically the Ottoman period to modern times. I learned a lot about the Ottoman Empire, the collapse of it, Janissaries being those douchebags they are. It's all the Janissaries, man. Anyway, yeah. Best I got. Alright, next up is from Russ. Hey there, Russ. If for some reason sweet tea became illegal, would you start up the liberal crime squad to fight the oppressive government? I would say too much effort, but the South might very well rise again in those circumstances. The LCS might be unnecessary, and obviously I will be swept up in the South returning to its glory. Yeah! Get wrecked, Yankees! Oppressive Obama scum! Alright, question 55. Wasteland 2, got any interest in it? Huh. If I were Lax Stoties, I'm sure I could go a war garble here, but I didn't care enough about Wasteland 2 to learn anything more than Like, not even the basics, just a veneer of the basics. I don't keep an eye on gaming news, and I prefer to wait until games are actually released before considering whether to buy them. I don't remember how long Wasteland 2's been released. Might be a year. I think we talked about this in the last Payday 2 live broadcast we had. I think J2 brought it up. I'm not sure. But no. Whatever. Didn't much care. I looked at it, and it actually reminded me of Jagged Alliance whenever I looked at some screenshots. Like Jagged Alliance plus Fallout, Wasteland, and, Wasteland had some similarities to Fallout, or I should say the other way around. Anyway, I have enough games to occupy my time, not looking for Wasteland 2 to fill that niche for me. It's already full with games. How about that? Next up, Mick824 writes, now that I have thought about it for a bit, what was your most favorite RPG campaign? And you have either GM'd or played in the longest. It was an advanced Dungeons & Dragons 2nd edition game. Long ago, with friends who've either long since moved away from the hobby or, in one case, died. I ended up being a player and a DM in that campaign. Naturally not at the same time, but things happen. Having fun, man. It was loads of fun, full of jokes only we'd find humorous because we were in our mid-teens and, things happen, right? What kind of vagueness is that? Things happen? What the fuck does that mean? Forget it, we'll just leave it there. It's interpretation. Mick will get it, it's fine. Next up from RCH. Hey there, man. Any future plans for another tabletop RPG to be featured on the channel? So what system? No plans. I've got my tabletop hands full right now. Large reason why I haven't been able to get much done over these past months is because of all the tabletop activity I have experienced. And that has been eating into my free time that I would be using for recording, like, say, your request. Let's see here. Obviously, I am the game master of an all flesh must be eaten game. That does take up considerable hours of prep. Because it's a custom campaign world, essentially. And that's a lot more effort than you have to put into, say, an adventure path. Which, if I ever do, the next system I'm running is gonna have an adventure path. Because fuck me if I'm doing as much lifting as I'm doing with All Flesh Must Be Eaten. In addition, I'm also a player in a 13th Age campaign. I'm not recording it, but someone else is. And should it ever be uploaded to YouTube, I'll make a little notification and a playlist for the interested. The 13th Age game has been going for some time, and there's a lot of techno-wizardry involved, and there's post-production, and artwork being designed. One of the players is an artist. It's always a useful, a contact to have. If you're going to get into, gaming, the gaming industry, or, tabletopping, you want to have someone, you want to know someone who's an artist. Useful. Yeah, if it should ever be uploaded to YouTube, I'll make, a little notification, create a playlist. Moving along here. Calvin. What D&D class is your favorite? Preferably from the Wizards of the Coast books, because you know I'm dumb. But if you know in your heart your true love comes from another book, that's fine by me. Well, Calvin, I quite like Magic User. So vague compared to terms these days. Magic User. I like it. Another long-time viewer here whose name I recognize. Okay, do you think you got any more old games left that you still want to LP for us as the cupboard's starting to look bare? By old, I'm assigning a very arbitrary age of 13 plus years. If there are any left, can you give a few examples? And are there any reasons, or are there reasons why you haven't gotten to the... I'd say no to your question, but that's because if I wanted to do something, then I'd actually do it. Beyond the RTR list, I have a few ideas which I've been kicking around for years. There is Microprose's Magic the Gathering, which is actually on the list. And I've thought about it, and I think the game's interesting, but my goodness, the hurdles I'd have to jump through to record that, it's a big turnoff. I would need to get a capture card for some of these things. Lethal doesn't have to worry too much about, technical recording drama. He just punches a button and a monitor captures. Ta-da! Gangsters Organized Crime comes to mind. That was mentioned earlier, but I'd actually want to relearn how to play that game first, and I'm sure recording it would take some doing. Might and Magic 7 for Blood and Honor was in my mind before my laptop broke in 2011. That's my favorite Might and Magic game. Really enjoy it. Quite a delight, great fun, but that would be a lengthy undertaking, and I have enough RPGs on my plate right now. Quite a number of them were requested. And, I don't know. I'd rather dip into some of their requests before starting a new series. Not that I'm under any obligation to do so. You fucking fools who gave me money, If it's not like a merchant, like, buy and trade thing. I can easily, it's like guilt-free. I can just pack up and go to the Bahamas. It wouldn't be like a crowdfunded thing where they take your money. Nah, there I go. You can dox me all you want, whatever, fuck all of you. It's like it was a donation type thing. It's not like an actual buy and sell thing. It's give you the right to suggest something. I mean, come on. That being said, I would like to tackle stuff on the list before I undertake anything that would be as big as Might and Magic 7. I'm not sure how pro I want to play. I'd want to play Might and Magic 7. Whether I'd want to use like a standard class to show off, like, say, Cleric and Sorcerer spells to handle all of that, or whether I'd want to do some sort of challenge run. Don't know how many of the quests that I'd want to tackle, whether I want to show off that stuff, or whether I just want to blitz through. I don't think I'd want to do a speed run type situation. I could go pretty fast, but I think I'd be willing to take it easy and slow and just have some fun with the game. Might and Magic 7 I really did play a lot back in the day. Nothing else comes to mind at the moment, but there are other nebulous ideas I've had over the years. It has been 4.5 years since I've started this hobby. I've had time. Okay, next up, number 60. Have you ever had issues with anxiety? Sure, I was shy and anxious, among other things, as a kid. That didn't make sense. I was a shy and anxious kid, among other things. And I still worry on occasion about events, but that's because I care about the outcome, right? Right. Next up, from Biodissonance. How is bacon best served? On the open steppe, with a fleet horse, falcons at your wrist, and the wind in your hair. Zeros, hey there, Zeros. How did you become acquainted with Lethal Feline? He's a longtime viewer of mine. I watched a few videos of his as well, but we didn't spend any time together until he asked me to play Unreal Tournament with him back in 2012. Moving along here. Are you going to do a pro run of Hitman? I only plan on doing one run, and whether it's pro or not, well, you'll have to decide for yourself. So far, we're firing on all cylinders, but that's because I haven't tried to kill Li Hong yet. We'll see how that one goes before we determine whether or not I'm doing a pro run. Doing it all in one shot. Kivitz here writes, what is your favorite new single-player game this year? By new, I don't mean released in 2014, but rather something you never played before until this year. No contest. Devil's Attorney. What a delight that was to play. We got Alexander Frost. I know that you aren't one to waste time on meaningless small talk, so I'll come right to the point. I'd like to play a game with you sometime, not for LP or to meet an internet celebrity, but simply to play a game and have a good time, i.e. for funsies. Would you be interested? Bye there. For those of you who don't already know, Alexander Frost partakes in this hobby as well as a recorder. If you're interested in clear diction, Sengoku Basara Samurai Heroes, or as of late, Resident Evil gameplay, then take a look-see. The clear diction really does matter. He's got a strong voice. You'll be able to hear him just fine. Now, as to your question, the answer at this time is no. I've gotten quite surly these past several months, if not the entire year, and it's not really my thing to be interested in, like, random pickup games with people I don't know. I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm not looking. Like, the signs, like, flipped to, I wouldn't say like a go fuck yourself so much as not interested. It's not you, it's me. There we go. That sounds properly, like, condescending. Okay. From Dragon, in your Let's Get On With It career, what do you think have been some of your biggest mistakes / regrets? I don't regret anything I've done with the hobby. I wasn't trying to achieve anything other than having fun, and I've certainly accomplished it. Have I made mistakes, though? Sure, there are ideas I've had which just didn't work right. And it's not as if I was a tech or YouTube savant when I first started. Hell, I wasn't even on YouTube when I first started. Anyway, the mistake that comes to mind is the most prominent, and I've mentioned this before, I think last year, is Titans of Steel, which was my least suitable series. I enjoyed the game back in the day, but the recordings were ill-omened from the start. It was an 800 by 600 window. YouTube player does not like 800 by 600 resolutions. I hadn't played in a long while. Titans of Steel is a very intricate game. Live commentary provided serious distractions, compounded the problem. I made poor choices with one of the mechs. I do believe it was Mysterious JG's mech that I turned into a long-range machine, and that should not be done at the lower Titan weights. I attracted the attention of people who were very passionate and knowledgeable at the game and had worked on the game, which, that wasn't good. And, Titans of Steel might have been a good one-shot piece, but it just did not work for Let's Go On Adventure. It was just, I needed to abort that one. That was just ugly. It was pretty bad. I don't regret it, but that would be the one series that I look back on and go, oh, that... You have had better ideas, my friend. Yeah. Next up, we have a question from Zerfall here. Hey there, Zerf. It's my birthday this month, too, but no one gets bacon from me. Anyhow, what's your favorite retro game / system, and why? That's a no contest for me. Super Nintendo would be the favorite game system. The games I most enjoyed before we got a computer were on the Super Nintendo. First game I ever bought with my own money was the Super Nintendo Entertainment System port of SimCity at $34.99. Could have been $34.95. I don't have the receipt. It has been a long time. The number of high-quality titles on the console and my experiences with them simply outweigh everything else we had, and that distinction holds true to this day. And I would say my favorite retro game would be SimCity for the Super Nintendo. Other than that being the first game I ever purchased, I rented that game to pieces before I bought it. So much so that in first grade I would take a construction paper, and while I was at school, and then while I was at home, I would doodle cities. Like, I would actually do city design and planning. Obviously not competently, but through my passion and the enjoyment that I got from that SimCity game. You know, I have SimCity trading cards, that I could easily grab right now from my chair. That game meant so much to me. It really did. And it made a major impact on my life. It definitely mattered to me. Also, before I move on, Zerfall does a lot with this hobby too. He's a fan of retro systems. He's played so many old games from the Commodore 64, and he's also tackled the legendary Dream Gear 75 and 1, which is basically an Action 52 type situation. I recommend, totally worth your time. Currently, Zerfall is going through Kid Dracula and Leisure Suit Larry. I enjoy Zerfall's content. You might too. Give him a look. Well, that's just about it, folks. I've combed through top comments from bottom to top, and, we're to see whether I missed anything. And there's only one left. Fitting that he's last with all the fat shaming he's done to me as of late. And to fit in with that, I actually don't have any prepared, notes that I've made to myself for this at all. None. Didn't take any. Just figured I'd just fucking answer this off the cuff. Because that's what this son of a bitch gets, you fucking jerk. Lethal Feline asks, as the self-described feminist that you are, what would be the ideal woman video game character? Alright. Just check that. Fucking implement serious face. Alright. I should look the same as I do, except for the different shirt, as I did whenever I uploaded that video about me getting the cable ties, the latex gloves, and the Ghirardelli candy, which someone mentioned was the jewelry brand. It was like a jewelry brand from Payday 2. And I didn't think of that. So, that's a thing. It's daytime now. I don't feel like opening the blinds. I have been awake for so long. And I'm... It's a self-described feminist that you are. What would be the ideal woman video game character? Well, my ideal video game character, regardless of gender, would be someone who fit the setting of the game. Someone who I could look at, and my suspension of disbelief would not be tarnished in any way. Suspension of disbelief, of course, varies depending on the genre of game you're playing. There are natural expectations for story and setting, depending on, whether you're playing an action game, maybe like a shooter-type situation, or it could be like a game with stealth elements. There's different levels of expectation of what you're going in between, say, a Gears of War versus Hitman, right? Or, say, a Morrowind. With that in mind, suspension of disbelief, I want any character to seem as if they belong in the world which the designers of the game have constructed. Story does matter to me. Whenever I do my tabletop role-playing, I am a character actor. I get involved with creating characters which fit into settings. So that matters to me. And to that effect, appearance takes into account presentation. Appearance fits into that as like a subsection. The discussion of this also matters. Video games, in case you weren't aware, are consumed by certain demographics, and as a result, designers of video games cater to those certain demographics, which is why female models in games have more detail, or tend to, than male models. It is why in many games you will see, the female character has more accentuated bodily features. Look at the blur that male buttocks would have versus female buttocks. There's obviously some situations where the artist wants to lavish more attention on a certain gender, which, I'm heterosexual. I do quite prefer the company of women. So I can understand the desire to do that, but it creates a discontinuity. It's incongruous within my head. And as such, an ideal character would be someone who fits in with the rest of the world around him or her, since your question ends up pertaining to a female. Wardrobe choices, a woman can wear whatever she wants, right? So, if the fashion trends of a particular game call for clothes that I would find absurd, people can wear what they like, so long as it makes sense within the world that women and men are both following absurd fashion trends. I guess that does take me away from the game a bit. Absurd clothes, it does shatter my suspension of disbelief, but that could just be a me problem in failing to integrate myself with the flavor of it. I like strong female and male leads. I think there are personality, I think that I am of the opinion that in some tabletop role-playing systems, a female character is just as capable and can achieve just as much and do just as much of anything as a male character can. As some people might think they're just glossing over all of the gender issues, but the point of the matter is if you're making a fantasy setting, you can very well have male and female at an equal level. It's a fantasy setting, my goodness, if we're going to have dwarves and half-elves and treants and whatever the fuck else, we're going to have all this crazy fashion, maybe, just maybe, we can start the two genders. If I can draw that up there, you know. So yeah, ideal character in a video game would be someone I could look at and say, all right, she belongs. Doesn't have to be a major character. Could just be minor character. I just don't want to look at anyone in a video game and have my suspension of disbelief jerked. Obviously, if I'm playing Unreal Tournament, the appearances, the presentation doesn't matter as much as, say, a heavy engrossed role-playing game. Just take umbrage with some situations. I don't enjoy feeling like my vast, glorious intellect is being insulted. I enjoy exploring all manners of games and devising plans and any character, so long as they make me feel like, all right, yeah, I can be in this world, yeah, I'm fitting in with this world, sure, it's congruous. It doesn't jilt me or shatter my thinking. I feel as if I'm being circumlocucious. Is that the right? I am way too scatterbrained right now. That being said, I feel as if I've built a sufficient case and answered your question adequately. And if you have any other, if you feel like that's been dissatisfactory, then fuck you, you fat-shaming whore. That takes care of all the bacon I have to serve up. This has been a very exciting time full of wonder and woe. Over 67 minutes. I'm sure I didn't drag that on much longer. I don't know, man, though. As I drink some caffeine, sure, go brush my teeth, might eat a little bit more. I mean, it's been so long since I ate supper last night, and enjoy my birthday by sleeping. It's better than some alternatives. I have the luxury of sleep, yeah? Yeah. Despite the fact that interacting with all these viewer questions takes so long, I do enjoy the process. I like this hobby. That's why I'm still doing it after over 4.5 years. We, theoretically, have a lot more time together. If I still manage to live, the current request list will get done sometime in 21X. There are a number of games on there. Many role-playing games. There are some other games which I'm interested. Free Space 2. There are some other games which I'm less interested. Stay on Tiny Shopkeeper's list. Thief 2. It'll be fine. Have some fun and experiences. And one of the reasons why I opened up the opportunity, again, of course, was to give people a chance to just pitch ideas at me. And there's so many games that I've never played before. I've never played Arcanum before. I never really thought of the game. I can't think I knew of it in any way other than passing interest. And this gives viewers an opportunity, and especially with as many recommendations as was given for Arcanum from the requesters, to perhaps, give me insight into a piece of gaming history or some gem that I would have otherwise not discovered. This was a topic of conversation in an impromptu podcast type environment between J2, Lethal, and myself after the last time we played Payday 2, and I mentioned it on my Twitter feed. We talked for 3 hours about all manners of things, and game design came to mind. There's so many games that have been developed. Gaming industry has become increasingly popular, as more interest has been devoted to it. And, you know, there's no stigma attached, or... Okay, there might still be a social stigma attached to being a gamer, but gaming is so casual and easy to do now that the definition, I think, has taken on different meaning. Like, maybe it takes more to be a gamer now than what it would, say, 10, 15 years ago. Information is so much more easily accessible, as are video games. And as a result, with game design changing, game theory changing, it creates a situation where there's just so many games, and the attitudes that... I can't really present this argument clearly. I would really just want to refer people to that end of the broadcast. Maybe future Grimith will do that whenever he uploads the video. The fact remaining that game design changes, and as such, you know, a game that for its time would be good or even great, or one of the best games of all time, might in 10 or 15 years look incredibly outdated and not be so appealing or interesting to play. There we go. Probably about as good as I can do. Yes. How did I get on that topic? We were talking about game design, interest. Right, the RTR list. So yeah, one of the reasons why I opened up that opportunity. I wanted to see if maybe my viewers would direct me to some games that are great that I otherwise would not have played. We've had mixed results thus far. A TOEFL boyfriend comes to mind. As does Gene Forge. It's alright. No regrets, just having fun. Playing video games, which is what I would do anyway. And I do quite enjoy the hobby. And, ability willing, so long as I continue to enjoy it, I'll continue to do it. It's all the bacon I got. I don't think I have any more tangential bacon. Bed looks pretty good right now. Not gonna lie. Take care, everyone. I shall communicate with you in future Let's Get On With endeavors. If you have any questions, comments, rude remarks, slander statements, fuck you. Fantastic. Toodaloo. I think this will stop recording, but I don't know, man. Maybe I don't want to let you go. I mean, you matter to me so much. I gotta keep adding time, man. It's the part where I'm gonna end this and I'm gonna realize that microphone wasn't picking up properly, or it's all gonna crash and burn, and I don't even know whether I would give a damn. Probably just be like, whatever, all the bacon's burned. See you next year. We'll see.